Hi friends, my name is Al or Lilstarnerd, and welcome to today's episode of The Cycle Continues. We're back at it today with a new sketchbook. Last week was my sketchbook tour, in case you missed it, and today I'm going to complete the first page in this glorious new book with you guys. So grab some art to do along with me, and let's get started. Like last time I made a video about starting a new sketchbook, this actually is not really the first time that I'm working in it. I started this sketchbook on April 1st, and I'm doing this piece on April 12th, and I don't even know when it's going up, like when this video is going to be out, but time has most definitely passed. First pages to me are always like a fun little event, so I like to do it with you guys, so I saved this page to do for later when I had the time to film it, which is now. Anyways, last sketchbook, I had some intentions with the first page. I wanted it to really set the tone for the sketchbook. I wanted it to represent the things I was into as an artist at the time, and I ended up doing a gouache painting of a Studio Ghibli scene, which I think was a good choice, but also, frankly, it was a bit underwhelming. So for this sketchbook, I wanted to go a little harder, do a bit better. At first, I was planning on doing a self-portrait. I think that's a really good option for a first page. I don't know why, but in my head, it makes sense. I like doing self-portraits. I just feel like it's a good first page. But I did the sketch, and I just wasn't feeling it. I didn't really like it. So I sat there for a while, and I was thinking about what did I want this sketchbook to be? What did I want my first page to say about it and to mean for this sketchbook? And then I came up with some new intentions. I wanted this first page to not represent what I'm currently into, but I wanted it to represent the things that I want to see from my art going forward. I wanted it to be like a touchstone, a source of inspiration that I could flip back to during the sketchbook and be reminded what direction I want to move in. And so I'm painting a lady knight. I've noticed with this last sketchbook and the art I'm creating lately, while I'm experimenting a lot, I'm having a lot of fun. I've also felt like my art is getting away from me a bit. It's not really feeling like me. It's not something I can connect with. And I want to keep doing all those things. I want to experiment and explore and expand, but I want to make sure I also get back to the things that really bring me joy and feel like my own art. Things like lady knights, my OCs, people in general. I haven't been drawing people lately, I feel like. I don't know. I think my main motivator for drawing this lady knight mainly comes from the fact that I don't love this sketchbook so far. Like I said earlier, I've already got some pages filled out, and so far, I just don't really like any of them. They're not bad, I just don't like any of them, and it's discouraging. I feel like I kind of want the first page of this sketchbook to be something that I know I can do well, something that I know I'll like the look of. I kind of just want to save this sketchbook, and I think a lady knight is the perfect way to do that. At first, I was considering coloring her with markers, but I did so many sketches and I had to erase so much from this page that it was so torn up, I wasn't sure that the paper would be able to handle markers anymore, and so by default, I knew I had to use paint. I couldn't really bring myself to be motivated to use gouache, so I kind of wanted to use watercolor, but I just couldn't decide between the two, so I put it up to a vote, and you guys definitely wanted gouache. I think it was like 70-30, so there we go. Okay, now let's talk a bit about the process of this piece. I combined two reference photos, which will be linked down below if you want to use them or check them out or whatever. And I did a pretty thorough sketch just in case I decided to use watercolor. I also skipped the pink bottom layer this time, mainly because I just didn't feel like doing it. I didn't want to wait for it to dry. I approached my gouache process a little differently than I normally do, mainly because I was working right on top of the red sketch layer rather than having that usual gray pencil outline to work with. So I had to be more careful to preserve the sketch and remember where the features were and where I wanted to shade and things like that. So I kind of puzzle pieced different shades and values along the face rather than working in layers. I had so much fun watching her face come together, tweaking it and perfecting it was really fun, especially because I wasn't directly working from the references with her face and like the shading and coloring of it. I was kind of winging it a little bit, so it was just fun to see it not turn out badly. As for the armor, it was actually kind of hard. Doing metal and really reflective stuff is always really hard, but I don't think I normally find it honestly, it wasn't even difficult. It was just tedious. I think I was just kind of tired and maybe intimidated. And while I think it came out fine, I like the way it looks, it wasn't the most fun thing to paint. One thing that I noticed afterwards is that the lighting is super inconsistent. I kind of knew while I was painting it, but I was like, oh, surely it'll come together. There's a really hard highlight on one side of her face, which is from the reference, but that highlight isn't anywhere else on her. like her hair or the fabric on her shoulders. But oh well, like it's just a sketchbook piece. It doesn't need to be perfect. There are some other flaws, like I didn't have the patience to do 2 layers of the gold, so it's like really, really patchy. There's some paper showing through in places. I might go back and do another layer at another time, but probably not anytime soon. I'm really tired, guys. I also don't love the background. I think that's something I've been really struggling with lately, is just figuring out backgrounds, because I don't want to put a lot of effort in for something like this where the background is super unimportant, but I'm getting sick of just doing solid colors for things, you know? And I've been finding it harder and harder to pick the colors for backgrounds. For this piece, it couldn't be dark because of her hair. It couldn't be yellow because then the gold wouldn't stand out. And it's such a simple color palette that randomly introducing another color seemed weird. So I just went with a gray blue, which works. Like, it's fine and it makes sense, but it's super boring. Like, it's super boring. So I don't like it. But I don't know. That's just something I got to work on, something I got to be aware of. But overall, I'm really happy with how it turned out. I love her face. I love her eyes. I love the lighting. I'm adding freckles a lot to pieces, and I'm really, really liking that. I found that it really helps like add like the illusion of detail and dimension to a face without all the work. I definitely think this works for the first page of my sketchbook. I think this pretty much exemplifies not only what I want to do with this sketchbook and like how I want my art to look moving forward, but I also think it's pretty accurate to me as an artist in general, so that's a bonus. I really want the energy on this piece to continue throughout the sketchbook, and honestly, just looking at it complete in front of me right now has me really inspired for this sketchbook, and it's just like making me excited to make this sketchbook better than it currently is. I'm excited to fix this sketchbook, I guess. I also kind of want to talk about, like, give an update on the whole, like, finishing a sketchbook in 3 months thing. 2 videos ago, I think, I did like the last spread of my previous sketchbook, and I talked about how I wasn't really feeling burnt out, and how so far I didn't see any cons to the 3-month sketchbook. I think that's still true. I'm not really burnt out or art blocked or anything, but I won't lie, I am tired, and I kind of do want a break. I feel like a lot of what I'm doing right now is really uninspired, and like I'm already in the mindset of desperately trying to fill space rather than using my sketchbook. But I don't think it's because of the sketchbook keeping that's tiring me out. So like I'm not worried about that. Like I don't think it's the sketchbook's fault. I just have a lot going on right now. I feel like I say this in every video, but it's definitely true this month. I have family Easter stuff coming up that I need to help plan for, and I need to bake a cake for. I have some a big cake, like not like a normal cake, like a fancy cake. I have big projects for classes I've really procrastinated and screwed myself over on. I have final exams coming up really soon. I have a lot of stuff to do with the podcast right now, and I have a lot of prepping and working ahead for May to do, because I have a small surgery in the first week of May that will have me down and out for like a week, and then unpresentable for like 2 or 3 weeks. It just feels like I have one giant deadline for literally everything in my life, and I'm tired. I don't want to draw right now. I just don't want to do it. But it's okay. It'll be over in like 2-3 weeks, and then I'll be sleeping for a week. So, I just gotta bear through the stress that I'm currently overinflating in my head for now. I don't know. I'm just tired, and I wanted you guys to know, I guess, because I'm tired. I don't know. Painting this piece was actually like a really nice break from it all, to be honest. So I'm already feeling better, but I am still tired. Anyways, that's it for today. Thank you guys so much for watching. I hope you enjoyed. If you did, like, comment, subscribe, unless you hate me, in which case, do it anyways, but do it ironically. Go watch your favorite movie, go dust your shelves, and go do some art.